building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuting my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Down out, I was worth it and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became.
Option. If this person is literally telling me what their plans in life is and what they want to be happy, and I'm sitting here saying, but I want you to stay here with me and stuff like that, you know, and then I get surprised if they're unhappy. Like, we live too much in our ego. And that's why a lot of times I speak so much about my other parts of my zodiac, because even to this point, I'm tired of being associated with being a Capricorn, not because I don't like being a Capricorn, it's because people use the sun sign, which is the ego sign, for everything. And it's like, when you're talking about personality, you need to be focused on your rising. When you're talking about other stuff, that's where that comes from. But even with twin flame and things like that, I just feel like when we back out of our ego, because a lot of times your friendship or your relationship with a family member more than likely is your twin flame. And that's why that relationship is so strong, because that flame is not meant to be romanticized. You're meant to have your relationship, but you're meant to have this separate from that, because that's the bond that is going to be that space, that energy, especially in times like today. Husband and wives can't talk to each other. Men, there's all these conversations about men, you know, I'm just saying, men being more into other men. And I'm like, boom. Probably because that other man is their twin, but because they're not at a higher consciousness of understanding the relatability of spiritual connections, it's always associated in an egotistical, oh, they're gay or whatever like that. I have always been closer to women, outside of being bisexual, whatever, because a lot of women we're more aligned in certain ways. There's some women I don't care for, but we're more aligned emotionally and subconsciously, because in my past lives, as you did the thing, you probably have to go all the way back to find a male. I've been women in my past lives, so that's where that, and you didn't even have to tell me that, to where I realized I was in love with a woman. I was in a lesbian relationship at one time before there was, or I was very pro women, or I was in this group, this coven. So it's like a lot of times we're more focused on the romanticized because of what society is, or these norms and stuff, when all actuality, you know, a lot of men probably are more aligned or meant to be twin flame rise with another man. Like, that space that you can share and be real and be honest should be sacred and honored, because why would you want to be with somebody that you cannot be yourself, that can't challenge you to be a better person, where you remove the ego and sex from it? That is a physical, and man, and I'm separating like pure sexuality and energy of that, but the world we live in, everything is over sexualized, everything is just instant gratification. And those spaces as men, because I've been saying to a lot of guys lately, you know, when I show up for them, I don't want nothing from you, bro. Like, you are a beautiful creation of the Most High. I really, to balance out my divine masculine with my divine feminine, I shout out my mentor all the time. If you ever listen to my podcast, I feel like this man was destined to be in my life. He is married, he is heterosexual, he has kids, he Christian, but the fact that we can come together since the beginning and share this space where I don't feel uncomfortable, where that is, to me, I'm not saying he's my twin flame, but that's the type of energy that you get from twin flame, because you don't have to be anybody but yourself. That's the way it should be.
Yeah. And you have to get there, because the shame, the guilt, hiding, pretending, all of that. But the one thing that you can rest assured with your twin flame dynamic is all of that shit will be broken down. It will. And that's why if you guys have the off and on too much, it's because you keep going back to what you think you're supposed to be doing. And that person is coming in to break your shit down. And until you understand that, you're going to keep going through the cycle of the bullshit, the cycle of the shit. And I caught on very early in my path and was just like, okay. Because, like I said, when you get to the point of you could just look at it for what it is, you can respect for what it is. My twin is very in the material world. He has his spiritual side, but not like how I'm in the spiritual stuff. So he's very material. His focus is money. And I remember we had a conversation a couple years ago, and what I wanted, he couldn't give me. And he said that. And I was like, all right, okay. And I left it alone.
Mm-hmm.
No hate, no drama, no talking shit, no cussing them out. Did we come back together? Of course. And then some more stuff happened. And then it's like, all right, I can't do this no more. Can't keep doing the cycles of this. This is where I gotta back away from you and let you go. And we need to part ways. But you have to kind of see where you're at and why those things come in, why those moments come in, why you're going around in circles with the person. And again, I do feel like flowing. You got to flow. I'm not into making nobody stay. Like we talked about the ritual shit. I don't do rituals on nobody. I don't want to influence you to be with me. I feel my energy is everything. And when you get into that part of really loving yourself, you are going to attract. I don't need to do spell work on you. You don't need to fucking do shit on you. You either like me or you don't. And I'm not a person who opens up to everyone. I'm someone who's very private when it comes to relationships, especially intimate relationships. Mm-hmm. I am a very sensual person. I could be casual all day long with no problems and not think twice. But this path has made me kind of curtail that because of just the attachment part to everything, to where I don't want the attachments. And now I want something more meaningful. But I have really in my dating path, it's been, was very casual. And I've only opened up to a handful of people. I can count on one hand how many people I actually opened up, to have that different sort of feel with them, because I'm just not one of those people. It's just like, I can't just connect to everybody. I ain't in love with everybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm not... it just, there's certain things I'm like, yep, nope, not going to happen. So just, you don't need a twin flame. Just, I tell people it's easier to be with a soulmate, especially if you're not willing to do the work. If you're not doing the work, it's way easier to just find you a soulmate. Because that twin flame is going to break you down. It's going to break down all your things that you think you know about life. It's going to break down all of your belief systems, everything you think you know and believe. It's going to break your psyche down, your mental health down, because it's meant to.
Especially if you're not doing the work. And I love that you keep reiterating that, because the problem a lot of times when people are searching for things, because the first thing is, why have you left what you believed at first? And I'm referring to religious people. Mm-hmm. You're running from that, but you still have to face everything. And so my thing is understanding the why you're doing this, what you're doing this for, and the action. And so you can't skip anything. And so it just goes a lot better when you work on yourself. And that is the biggest thing right there. And I will say that for anybody that's going through a lot, because I don't be going through stuff like that no more. I barely went through it then, but I don't go through stuff like that anymore. I sit over here, minding my business. And even when I entertain people, I make it very clear from the beginning. I set the energy. I make sure. But this is the reason why people don't understand, because you're searching for this twin flame to pacify you.
Right.
But you're neglecting what you should be doing. And you know this.
Right.
You already know this. Because a lot of people that I have done stuff with, I'm sitting here and every time the message, you already know. But if you wanted to come here, you wanted to get, but you already know. So we can kiki and whatever, but I'm not doing work. I'll tell people that clear. I will never do work for you that you're supposed to be doing for yourself. I don't care how much money you got, because I don't want to be tied to that. And I don't want to be dealing with any karmic, because that's the work is. It's the same as going into a job.
Mm-hmm.
You are hired to do this. This is the job that you were hired for in your life. And we're just focused on love.
Right.
Because this is the aspect. This was the path that you were on, that you set out. Whether you believe in it or not, it's just the real life, because I like to speak from both sides as a person,
Right.
education or not. Whether you believe in that or not, let's sum it up like this. You're at a place where you're trying to figure out who you want to be with in relation to where you are in your life now. You still have to do the work. It doesn't matter what you believe in or who you believe in. Action is always going to have to be a part of that. So instead of fumbling, instead of fucking up or whatever, messing up people's lives and yours, you would be so much better when you sit down and do the work, because your twin flame is going to always be there. They're going to show up at times where you probably don't even want them there.
Yep.
Because the job or the path is set to you all individually, but collectively together. So at the times that you need them the most, they're going to be there. The times that you want them, it ain't about you, boo.
That's no, you will cry in the corner. You will cry in the corner. It's the beauty of it, regardless, because I do feel like there's people that are twin flames that aren't into spirituality at all. But you see kind of the patterns in the relationships, you see the patterns in the things, and I love the people who have done that. Despite everything, they came to a place to be friends and to connect and to stay that they understood, I love you, but we can't be together. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, but I can love you from far. And that's what true, depending on your lessons, but that's how you really understand what love is. Because I don't have anyone that I hate in my path. There's no one that I hate. I don't have any hate towards no one. I actually have genuine love, and I hope that they heal, right? But even the people that I genuinely love, it's like, but I know you can't sit next to me. You know, you get to that point where you understand the dynamic and you stay in that love energy. Because the minute you're down here with, I hate my twin, and I hear it all the time, fuck that and fuck him, fuck her. And it's like, well, you got a lot to learn still.
I don't have hate, but speaking from the point of a Capricorn, because we always get this bad vibe anyway, I don't hate you, but I'm going to let you know every time I see you how I feel.
I've had to work through that, because Spirit put me on my ass way too many times. And so one of the things that I had to work on was love, being in the love energy. And when you're in the love energy, it's not, because I used to take it as a like a defeat if I have to be in this, and then I had to learn, like, no, it's not that. Like, you literally could be like, I genuinely have this love for you. You did what you did, and now you can't be in my life no more. There's nothing else to it. That's it. Bye. Because you also have to have that love and respect for yourself. And if someone lies and cheats, and I know we go through the levels of forgiveness, but I look at things like, there was a time where I would cut you off and that's it. You're dead to me. Like, I could see you bleeding on the street and wouldn't give a shit. Like, that's how cold I could get. I'm very loving, but if you cross me, like, I would get very cold. So one of the things I had to learn was not to be so cold, but I still won't allow people back in my lives to hurt me again. I feel like if you do certain things, if you cross a certain line, we can't come back from that. Like, we can't share that space no more. I'm never going to trust you again with my life. I'm not going to trust you again with my energy. And I'm damn sure ain't going to trust you again with money or whatever it is that we had going on, right? So I think if you understand that, you don't have to hate this person. You just got to understand what it is and move accordingly. Like, there's some people that are just liars. This is why I tell people your circle is everything. Who you roll with is who you are, regardless. And people, no, I'm not like that. No, yes, you're entertaining it. You're entertaining low vibrational energy.
I literally told a friend not too long ago, I love you, but I don't be around you because I don't like the people that you're around. And it's not that I can't be around, but as a friend, or if you said it perfect. If I am constantly around you and you're around people that are hurting you, or don't have your best interest, that energy flows over to me. And once again, get somebody else to do it. So I'm going to be over here. I love you, but we can't share the same space, because clearly and I'm going to just say it, clearly you're not caring enough about your own flow and your own growth.
Right.
Why would that's when I have to hold myself accountable, because when you constantly are forcing yourselves back on twin flame into these forcing things in these twin flame ships, that are not supposed to be, then the blame goes on you. It doesn't matter if they cheated or whatever, because I'm that type of person. A person can constantly cheat and lie all the time. But after, because my favorite line is, this is not baseball. There's no 3 strikes you're out. After the second time, we got to figure out something different. So if you keep allowing your twin flame to move in this way, and you said it before, both of you guys are the problem. And so that is where you need to really sit when you're coming to Ariana or myself or somebody for guidance, where you need to really be true in the fact of, you got to once again do the work and hold yourself accountable in this, because you could actually be the reason why it's not working if you're not owning up, because then it becomes, why do you keep letting this happen? Why are you allowing this happen? And that is the lesson in the twin flame that will keep showing up, because you're going to keep allowing this person because this person is your twin flame and you feel a comfort. But then the other part of that is what work and what are you supposed to be learning in this situationship, so then you can level up to the next level.
Right. Because forgiveness does not mean allowing that shit to happen again. Nothing in forgiveness says to come and fuck me over twice. And there's a saying, I can't remember who says it, but it's that saying, fool me once, okay, shame on you. Fool me twice. There isn't no fool there. You can't do it again. If you do it again, I've allowed you.
Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Because you can't. There's no more. If you do it the first time, all right, okay, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. But that's how I move now, the same way, where I'm like, there's not going to be another time. Because if you were so quick to fuck me over, what's to stop you from doing it again? You made that choice, and we all have choices. If you live your life generally as a good person, you're not going to put yourself in the position to fuck people over. That's how I see it. When I look at people and who they roll with, I'm like, if you are so quick to fuck off your sister, cousin, best friend, baby daddy, and whoever else you fucking with, how quickly are you going to turn on me when it's your time? I don't fuck with people like that. I tell you, and it's not a judgment. Before, people used to come at me like if it was judgmental. And I'm like, maybe I'm being too judgmental, And I'm like, no, fuck that. I just have standards.
Well, and my friend today just literally told me, and that's why we're created differently. What I'm willing to put up with very well is not what you're willing to put up with. And that is the focus and the balance and all encompassing in the twin flame. But, because there are things that I'm just not. And I have learned that from growing and evolving. Every time I'm in a relationship, why this doesn't work is because it doesn't work for me. So why would I keep doing that?
Right.
And so that is the thing, like, you're forcing yourself. And to anybody that's in a relationship for a long time, whatever works for you, it works for you. But I think it's important, and I know people in relationships can attest to this, that they had to learn, they had to grow, they had to figure out, what they were willing to take and what they couldn't. And it worked for them. And it worked, especially twin flame. But there's a lot of people who aren't learning and aren't allowing themselves to vibrate. And so they're stuck. And then their twin flame and the relationship always is karmic and chaotic when you're not saying it, one, because back to communication, that's the biggest issue, is people don't want to talk. You want this, but then you don't want to talk about the entirety of it. You want to keep this person here, you want to keep the situation, and it doesn't work. And so part of the twin flame relationship is to have that space, to learn and grow and communicate and work things out in a way that you couldn't in any other life, in any other space, in any other relationship.
Right. I feel those are the biggest things where people getting it wrong. You getting it wrong because you're looking at it in the wrong space. And if you and your twin aren't comfortable together, you got a long way to go. I tell people all the time, you might as well just be friends and at least be support for each other and leave everything else behind and keep it pushing, because there's so many stages that you got to work through. And just making it more complicated does not make sense. Because especially if you are trying to roll, like you're trying to make sense of something that's spiritual, and that doesn't work. One, you really can't explain the twin flame dynamic. It's so unique, and the way the energy flows. You really just got to honor it and keep it moving. Like, stop again controlling, trying to control this situation. I'm with you though. There's shit that I'm just not dealing with. I have been like that. I went through a lot with my daughter's father when I was a teen. I was a teen, and me and him broke up when I got to, like, I think I was 20, 19 or 20, I think, was when we split. And after that, I told myself I would never just have a man laid up with me just because. And I've stuck true to that. You know, I didn't have men coming into my out of my house. My daughter only knows him. That's it. Not to say that that was the best thing to not have a relationship, but I wasn't going to just be with anyone. And that's before my spiritual path. I had that much respect to be like, no, yeah, we have those lonely moments. Yeah, we all want to, have those moments, but I just never could do it. I never could just be like, yeah, let me lay up with this person just because. You
I choose
especially, like,
peace.
you're not gonna
Peace.
disrespect me. I'm big
Mhm.
on disrespect. I'm huge on disrespect. So a man that disrespects me, or you talk down to me, or you belittle me, that's not flying with me. I have a very masculine energy in this life. So I have a very
I could tell that from the beginning when I first met you.
and I am, and I've
And
in
you're
this life.
also a fire sign too, so
Right. Well, Sag is a very masculine energy. Sag
mhm.
is very masculine. And this is where we get confused with society, and where society says you got to be things. Cause went through a lot of thinking like maybe I was gay, maybe this or that. And then it was like, no, I'm just fucking masculine, and I'm aggressive, and I want shit the way I want it. I'm ambitious, my drive. I tend to be in my masculine more than the feminine, which is what I've had to learn on my spiritual path, is to come into my feminine a little bit
And
more and
balance.
receive and balance, because I have been in that more driven, more and it's not a man versus woman thing. It's just energy. Feminine energy is receiving and sitting back. You don't do. Masculine energy is the do, the drive, the go. And once you start to understand that, you can sit back and you can balance it. You could tap into your strengths and understanding that. And so, yeah, I had to work through all of that and understanding. I love who I am. I'm masculine as fuck. It is what it is. You like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. It is what it is. Like, whatever.
And
Um,
that is how it's supposed to be, knowing who you. It's so weird that we walk through life time and time again not knowing who we are. And
right,
I will say this is what you should be experiencing with your twin flame on each level of growth. It's just
right,
rediscovering who you are, what you like and what you don't like. Not saying that this is a test or a trial relationship, but it is a way to learn who you are, what you like, what you don't like, so that in your other relationships, you can be more secure and open about that. Or even if you're not aware of who your twin flame is, just recognizing that there was this one particular connection with somebody that is always in my life, that when I go to them, I'm like, I don't like the way that they said it or the way that they move. But I was able to release and express and experience that, to where I'm glad and I'm thankful that I have that with them, and to be able to constantly go back and share
right,
that space with them. It's good, because that is one thing about my life that I stand true to, that because I'm one person, I'm androgynous throughout my life. There's never been too much more, too much less.
right,
But remembering that for me, I still am learning who I am and growing. And so when I enter aspects, I'm still a little bit like, with I twin flame stuff. I will say, as a person that studies things and has information, I'm not saying that everything is all complete in my life. I don't think I don't know. I need to sit down and figure out if I've met my twin flame, but I don't knock away from any type of
right,
association when it comes to the flames. I think honestly, I am preparing to finally meet my soulmate.
right,
But for me, I feel like this is something that we should be striving for when we are seeking out twin flames or flame in general. A better understanding of who we are, because your ultimate path and your ultimate goal is self, is higher
mm,
enlightenment within yourself to return. So experience what you're supposed to experience, but do not get caught
mm,
up in it not being that. Take it as, oh, I didn't completely learn that lesson. Let me take from that. And when it
right,
returns, I can go back into it, and that's just kind of how I look at things, because relationships haven't been the best for me either. But
mm,
I am in a space where I can remember as I was saying earlier, those moments where it's like, to me, the energy of the twin and how it shows up in different people is more where I'm at. Like this moment, this space was everything. But I do honestly feel like my friendships are I that's just how I feel. My friendships, I feel show up in every lifetime because the friends that I've had for the longest, and they're not a lot. My best friend, who's a Sagittarius, we don't even see each other all the time, but when we see each other, it's the same as it always been. You know, we talk to each other. She calls me for spiritual advice. I'm calling her, telling her what she needs to get together in her life. We've always been there. I'm the godfather of her. And we have said this one time, like, I feel like in another lifetime, or I feel like she is, you know, my wife, just because of how much we've been in each other's lives, family wise, things like that, but we're friends.
Right.
So, you know what? Maybe I need to do a reading and see if she's my twin flame.
You just, I mean, the energy of, so the only thing that I've kind of been able to distinguish my twin from soulmate energy, because soulmate energy is powerful also. Your soul family, and it's not, and even karmic relationships, when it's a karmic relationship, people down karma, but karma is just lessons, unless you specifically did some shit to each other that you're paying it back in this life. Karma is there's more to karma. There's more levels to karma. So even karma can be intense, and it can be loving, and it can be crazy. And then some people think that
Capricorn is a karmic sign. So.
I mean, you're ruled by fucking Saturn. You know what I mean? Like Saturn is the lord of karma. People think karma's a bitch, but no, karma's a lord of karma. Very masculine energy. So he's very strict and very like plain, like this is what it is. You do, you get, you get what you give. So a lot of people think that they're with someone that was beautiful, and all of a sudden some shit happens. They think it's a karmic relationship, when honestly it was just a decision that you made right now in this moment. You guys were soulmates. You were meant to be together, but someone has made a choice, because your decisions every day can make a choice that can make or break your relationship. How you choose to handle that situation, how you choose to come back from that situation, is going to be that test or time. But in these days, everybody has a short fuse. Oh, I got 1 million people in my DMs. I don't need to fix shit. I don't need to do nothing. And they keep it pushing.
It's so sad. We are so impatient.
But for me, when I tell people, the only thing I can tell them from my own experience of twin flames is that literally, no matter, there's been times that I was angry at my twin. There's been times where, like I said, I was trying to prove he was a karmic. But I can tell you, in every meditation that I do, he jumps in pretty much. He's there. His energy is there. I've had multiple past lives with him. My meditations, nobody else is in my meditations. No one else pops up in those meditations. And when I've been in through the past lives, going in between lives, nobody else, even kids, they don't go back to that same energy space that I've seen me and my twin. When it comes to again, I'm not somebody who falls in love with everybody, right? I'm not someone who does the chasing people. My twin is someone that I could not get rid of his energy. And that was something that drove me insane, of trying to figure out what was going on. Right. But we also had the karmic shit coming through. And I always explain to people, again, from the first time I met him, I just felt home. Like we didn't even have to speak. And I didn't have no awkwardness around him. It wasn't an awkward silence. You know what I mean? None of that. It was just, I was home. And I didn't really understand that before him. And then, of course, after him, because even me trying to see other people in between, I would say in between, is when I realized that he was different, way different, and I tell people, you really have to look at your connection and how it goes, because a lot of people I've had to tell. I was with my daughter's father for years, but we were only together because of the karmic tie. We basically came back to relive a karmic situation. We did not get it right this time. You know what I mean? We ended up fucking it up even worse in this life. And I realized I never loved my daughter's father. It was all ego. I was all in ego with him, and that's what it was. And the karmic ties. So you have to do your diligence to see. When I say I would not see my twin for a year, and we would come back together, And I would be like, I'm approved this time. It's a karmic. And I can tell you just the hug being in his arms was just like, it would blow me away energetically. And I'd be like, this ain't normal. This is not just a phase, or this is not just, you know what I mean? This ain't the same.
This is
So
real.
so again, you have to come to this place of understanding your bond deeper than what you can see. Because your mind is going to be like, well, why aren't we together then? Since we're so connected and this, that, and the third, you're going to drive yourself fucking crazy with the 3D world shit. But it's more than that. Again, it's more than that. It goes deeper. And I know you were talking about the sexual healing. Even that part of understanding there's a sexual healing dynamic that comes from your
Yes.
twin flame that nobody else can give you or nobody else can do for you. And I would tell people it's not about just, oh, he's the best that I ever had. Because no, I have had different situations. And it's not the best, but I can tell you the connection with him sexually is the best I've ever had.
And I'm glad you said that, because this misconception that sex needs to be all this, and that to be great. I have had sex with someone that the performance wasn't even all that, but
Right.
the connection,
Right.
the comfort that my spirit felt
Right.
gave me a sexual thrill that I realized I hadn't had in a while. And I prefer, for me, I can only speak for myself, I prefer that a lot more. I prefer the comfort, because a strong sign for all of y'all strong signs that are either vibrating too much in your masculine energy or too dominant,
right,
to have that space of submission to where I can lay here and be sexually raw, or I feel a sense of healing. That to me is a lot greater than to have this pounding I don't know, like, and it shows a level of where you're at in your spiritual growth anyway. So for me, like now, and I was telling my cousin that I was like, I can't really see myself having sex with a lot of people because of where I'm at in my growth and in my healing, because it doesn't satisfy me. Like I'm laying disconnected versus years ago or whatever. Now it's like the comfort, the talking, the release, the rejuvenation, the feeding back into me on a deeper level is what I need at this point. And so I don't knock anybody. If you know me, you know I am all about sexual fluidity, sexual empowerment, especially for women. But it's like knowing what your body needs.
I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose, and the goddess I became.